Welcome into our Saturday edition of the In the Money podcast, Breeders' Cup Saturday. Tom Leach, along with Keeneland's director of simulcasting, Jim Goodman, who will be considerably busier 1 year from today when it is Breeders' Cup Day at Keeneland. But you get to focus just on the handicapping for now. And let's take a look at the first of the 9 grade 1s on Saturday, Jim. The juvenile fillies, mile on the 16th for 2-year-old fillies, race 4 to start the day.
Isn't it great to start with race 4 and you got 9 straight grade 1s? That's a handicapping exercise in and of itself. I want to take a Keeneland horse in the first race, first Breeders' Cup race on Saturday, of Decile, the 11. I really liked her race in the Alcibiades, caught a wet fast track, was closing at the end. She was 12 lengths out of it at the half mile, and the Probnik just was flying at the end and just did not quite get up. She was 5 wide. And I'm thinking that she's 10-1 morning line, and with all these West Coast horses on here, Angela Renee and Danette, Conquest Eclipse, they're all going to get bet heavily. And I'm going to think a Keeneland horse might sneak in there. And Alstall, not known for having great grade 1 Breeders' Cup winners, but a nice solid trainer, and Rosie obviously is riding as well as anybody in the country. So Top Decile is my pick. In the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, I like Angela Renee for second. Conquest Eclipse, Danette, all the horses coming out of the Chandelier are going to be good. Also like the 8-horse, Puka, for Bill Mott, a typical Mott horse who didn't run a step first time out, got better second time out, and just rolled the third time out. 16 lengths win in the maiden special weight at Belmont. So that might be a filly at a price. And the other horse that I would probably use in a pick 3 or pick 4 is the 12 By the Moon. Michelle Nevin is an underrated trainer, and she won the Frizette very easily on a sloppy track. Don't know how good she is on a fast track. But Top Decile is my top pick in the 14 Hands Winery Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies.
We're on the same one. I like Top Decile a lot. I think she was just a little short for all she had to go through. She just came up a little short in her first time around 2 turns and just her second lifetime race, and I think she improves a lot off of that. And this is the one I like best of the 2 days is Top Decile. I hope I get the 10-1, and I think there's a good chance we might because of what you said with where the other money will show. So I want to have several chances to hit an Exacta, so I'll put her as the key horse, and I like Christina's Journey, the 5. I like the 1 Feathered a little bit. Conquest Eclipse, the 4. Majestic Presence at 20-1 for Hollendorfer to get that kind of price on Hollendorfer. This horse made a big move in the Chandelier and then flattened out. And if I went one more, I would probably add Puka. I had that one scratched out and actually added Conquest Eclipse, so it was kind of between those two. So Top Decile is the key horse for me. Filly and Mare Turf is next, and you got Dank, the defending champion, back. And I wasn't going into this thinking that I was going to pick Dank. And the more I looked at it, that's who I came back to. Michael Stout is so good at Breeders' Cup. And since they won it last year, I keep thinking that he wouldn't bring her back if she wasn't ready, since they'd already won the race once. And she's had 2 starts this year, but she didn't run particularly well, but they were both against boys. And I think it's a weaker field overall than the one she beat last year. So for all those reasons, I came to Dank, but I'm not real wild about the pick, especially at a short price. So I would want to have the other Euros in horizontal wagers, which is the 5 Secret Jester, the 6 Faisalana, and the 2 Just the Judge, who I probably would be the one I would pick if I didn't go to Dank. But I'm going to take Dank with a shaky pick for the win. What about you?
I'm not taking Dank because the last year it was her 5th race, and she performed well in all of them. So I don't think it was a shock. She won the Beverly D and then came back and won the Filly Mare Turf. And this year she hasn't shown up. She only run twice. So I'm going to take a stand against her, and if she beats me, she beats me. I'm going to take a kind of a long shot here. I love Day at the Spa's progression the last 3 or 4 races. They've changed. Chad Brown has changed her from a tracking horse to a horse on the lead. And I think she may be the controlling speed in this race. And I think she just needs to make it a mile and a quarter. I'm not certain that she can make a mile and a quarter, but if she gets a decent, easy lead, the Euros are not going to challenge her, I don't think. Emollient's not fast enough to challenge her. I like Just the Judge to run second here. The E.P. Taylor was very impressive, and she's moving up 94 by her in the Beverly D. Only got beat a length and came back with a 102 at the Woodbine track at a mile and a quarter. I think she sets up perfectly for this race. Stephanie's Kitten was flying at the end for Ramsey, the 10 horse, and the horse that I like at a price is an American horse, Paranda, the 9. And they were thinking about running her in another race. They go here, and she almost won the Rodeo Drive. Probably ran a little bit better than Emollient that day. And at 20-1, she's a heck of a price for Jerry Hollendorfer. So I'm taking a stand against Dank with Day at the Spa and Just the Judge.
You know, the thing about Day at the Spa, it's interesting because if she's at the outer limits at 1.25 miles, this track's probably the best shot for a speed horse to outrun their max a little bit. So I'm gonna go back and take another look at that one. Filly and Mare Sprint is race 6, and I like Judy the Beauty a lot in here. She's been training at Keeneland, and she has been training lights out. And Wesley Ward has brought her up to the race with a lighter schedule this year. It's only her 5th start, and she was second in this race a year ago to Group Edal. And so she likes the track. She likes 7 furlongs and drawing out outside in the 7. She can sit off the speed, and I think there could be a fast pace in here. So Judy the Beauty is the one I like. Stone-tastic, I think, sets the pace and plays Come Catch Me and could hang on. She was a little disappointing at Keeneland. The thing about her, she's had 3 6-furlong races, and this is 7. So I could see her getting caught. Little Alexis, I like off the race at Saratoga. And then I might also use Southern Honey and Living the Life for a late run under Judy the Beauty, but Judy the Beauty is the key one in here for me. What about you?
I like Judy the Beauty to key her first and second. She's 15 for 17 lifetime in the Exacta. Pretty strong.
Pretty strong, yeah.
But I'm going to take Stone-tastic. I love Stone-tastic at Keeneland, and she didn't. She got the lead and then gave it up fairly easily, and I just don't know if she cared for the track. And I really liked her in the TCA, and she went off at 6-5 and disappointed. But go back to the Prioress, and she was very impressive. 2 in a row at ran well at Monmouth and won the Prioress at 5-1 at Saratoga. I'm going to take her on top. It's not a very, very strong pick because I think Judy the Beauty will give her all she wants down the stretch. The other horse that I liked in here was Artemis Agriterra, and what impresses me about her is that she was a speed horse, and she got off to a bad start in the Gallant Bloom and just came from dead last and blew by all of them in the stretch. And that's her 3rd win in a row, and I like a horse that shows a lot of versatility because she didn't panic, and Rajiv Mirage was on her there, and Ortiz gets the ride back here, but he's won on her before. So I like Artemis Agriterra a lot here behind those first 2, but that would be the 3 I would stand with in any pick 3s or pick 4s. So the Stone-tastic, Artemis Agriterra, and Judy the Beauty.
Let's move to the turf sprint that starts the pick 6, 6.5 furlongs down the hill, as they say at Santa Anita. So they come out of the gate and they take a right-hand turn and then a left-hand turn. And they run over a little patch of dirt, so it's an unusual layout. And usually horses that have run well here are ones to take a look at. So who did you land on in the turf sprint?
I landed on 2 horses that have run well here. I looked at the horses that haven't run here, and I just tossed them because I think you got to have experience on that quirky track. I'm looking forward to seeing this race in person out there. So it's kind of unique to watch it on TV. I can only imagine what it's like to watch it with binoculars. So I'm going to take Renee's Got Zip. She should love the one post. She's probably going to run the first quarter in 21-2, 21-1, something like that, and say, come get me. And I think the way this race sets up, I'm not sure that there is somebody like Misdirection to come and get her at the stretch. So the other pure speed is on the outside. Wesley Ward's filly, No Nay Never, and I think the 14 post kind of prevents her from getting to the lead with Renee's Got Zip. She may be right off her, but I don't think she gets the lead. The other horse that I like at a price is Sweet Swap, a typical 4 for 8 at the distance, 4 for 8 Santa Anita. That's the only distance she's run, and she's run there 8 out of the last 9 times in this distance, this track. So I'm gonna throw her in there just because she's very consistent on this crazy course. The other one that if Renee's Got Zip gets challenged on the lead, I think Tight End Touchdown has a shot. Would benefit from a fast pace, and Castellano rides her, and she got close last year, only got beat by half a length. Not quite the same filly as she was last year, but she's still quick, and I think Tight End Touchdown has a real shot. But Renee's Got Zip, the one horse, is my choice.
I went to Ambitious Brew, who's 3 for 4 on the course, like you, looking for somebody who likes it at Santa Anita, likes this turf course and this particular layout. And I'm assuming Mike Smith had his choice of mounts, and he ends up here rather than No Nay Never, who he rode to victory at Keeneland. So assuming he had the choice, he picked this one. So I'm going to take Ambitious Brew, but the other one's Home Run Kitten just won the prep for this out at Santa Anita, so you know that he likes the turf course. The two Wesley Wards, No Nay Never and Undrafted. I actually like Undrafted a little better just because of his finishing kick, but he's never been on this turf course, never been on this layout, but I think he's dangerous. Wes Welker's horse. Sweet Swap, I think, is worth a look. And then a couple of horses coming out of mile races, Silentio and Bobby's Kitten, but I just, I'm like you. I'm looking for somebody who's shown an affinity for this course, and this particular layout is really unique. So Ambitious Brew is the one for me, but I would spread in horizontal wagers. The 8th race is the Juvenile. I was going to pick against American Pharaoh with Carpe Diem before American Pharaoh scratched, so that just hurt my price. But Carpe Diem's my pick, number 9. Love the race at Keeneland. Went back and watched it again, and it just won so easy. And the other thing I like about that race, Conquest Tsunami came out of that race, finished about 6th, and just aired at Churchill Downs last weekend. And I think he stalks the speed and stamps himself as the early Derby favorite for Todd Pletcher. I would certainly respect the 4 connections to the 4, the Great War, the Aidan O'Brien, Coolmore Declaration of War connections for last year. The horse almost won the Classic. So, I remember Johannesburg, so I would take a look at the Great War. That's the only other one. Daredevil, those are the only 2 I could see beating Carpe Diem, and I'm going to toss Daredevil just because of the post and never been beyond a mile. And I'm going to use Calculator and Mr. Z for long shots, maybe under Carpe Diem. But Carpe Diem's my strong pick for the Juvenile. What about you?
I'm right with you. I like the race at Keeneland. Very strong finish and almost one under wraps. And he's got a lot more in the tank, and he's 2 for 2. And I'm like you. I think he'll be the Derby favorite. I don't know how good Daredevil is because he's caught a muddy track at Belmont and a sloppy track at Belmont. And the Champagne was very impressive, but how much of that was the sloppy track? He's not going to get that at Santa Anita, so I'm going to use him, but I don't like the 12-hole. Don't like the fact that he hadn't been beyond a mile. I just think that of the 2 Pletcher horses, and he seems to have all the cards here, Carpe Diem looks like the one with the most upside and was probably the most likely winner. Calculator, the one horse, actually looks pretty good. Won the front runner, or finished second in the front runner behind American Pharaoh, and American Pharaoh in here would probably have been the favorite. So Calculator at a 15-1 morning line probably is an overlay. I didn't look at the Great War very closely, but that is a good point on the connections. Bring them over here. They're not shipping in for fun. So Carpe Diem is my choice here. I would single this horse in rolling pick 3s.
Now we move into the races that encompass the late pick 4, and it starts in the 9th race with the turf at 1.5 miles. And you got some strong European entries here. Where did you land in the turf?
Yeah, that's a shock, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is one you could in the pick 4 you could use all, but I guess I got to pick somebody. All right, you're not going to let me get by with all, and I'm going to take Flintshire the 7. Looking as if he runs back to the Arc, he got beat by 2 lengths to Trev and got a 125 Racing Post rating. If he runs back to that race, but he's not going to get quite the same turf over here. It's going to be firmer, even though that was rated firm over there. So that's a question mark. Magician won last year and could certainly come back and win. Got a nice prep race in the Arlington Million, ran behind Hardest Core. Telescope is Grade 1, Group 1 tested at Great Britain and lows the distance. Main Sequence, I think, is the best American choice. And I didn't like Main Sequence last time out because I think we commented on a podcast that he's won by a head and he's won by neck. He's not going to win 3 Grade 1s in a row, and damned if he didn't do it. He had a 1 3/8 and 2 1.5 wins by a neck, a head, and a neck. So Graham Motion knows how to train him. Main Sequence knows how to win. So I'm going to put him in there in the mix. Going to use Brown Panther and Hardest Core also in the pick 4. But Flintshire is my pick, but I think Telescope and Main Sequence have a shot.
I ended up going for Telescope. It was pretty much a toss-up between him and Flintshire, and I leaned to Telescope because he's 2 for 3 at 1.5 miles. And Sir Michael Stout's been outstanding in this race, as well as the Philly Mere Turf. So Telescope, Flintshire, I think, for Exactas, I'd use those 2, keying on top, and certainly use both of them in pick 3s, at pick 4, etc. The 11 Chiquita intrigues me a little bit. Now, she's in here instead of the Filly and Mare Turf. She could have gone in there. Same connections as Magician. So if they've already got Magician in here, why are they running her? Maybe she's just a best at 1.5 miles, and they just feel, that she needs to be in there at 1.5 miles, even if Magician's already in it. Or is she maybe doing better than Magician? So I'm going to throw her in there. She gets Lasix first time. Seen that move up some Euro horses that have maybe a little breathing issue, bleeding issue. So I'm going to be intrigued by Chiquita a little bit, especially if it's a big price. And the other one I'd take a look at is maybe Imagining. You get a big price on Shug McGahee, a horse that's seeming to be in his best form and is maybe the controlling speed. And so kind of where you were talking about with Day at the Spa, Imagining's worth a look. But my pick's going to be Telescope. 10th race is the Sprint, 6 furlongs. I did not have a strong opinion in here. Really like Secret Circle a lot last year. Not sure if he's as good. Started to go to Rich Tapestry. I was really impressed with that last race. Miko Margarita is an interesting long shot for me. I went and watched the race at Remington Park that this horse comes off of. And there's a horse called Hayti that's a really good sprinter in Louisiana, really fast. And this horse was like 6 lengths back with 1/8 of a mile to go and just finished like it was shot out of a cannon. Big step up in class, but it's for Asmussen, training well, and just that race was so visually impressive that I got to throw this horse in there. But the one I'm going to pick is Fast Anna. I'm not sure he's good enough to win, but I think he's the speed of the speed, so I think he could be first or second. So I'm just going to key him in exactas with those others, and nearly won a Grade 1 up at Saratoga. So just as the speed of the speed in a race for speedsters, I'm going to take the 12 Fast Anna. How about you?
I love this race every year, and you always look at it, and who's going to get the best trip? Who's the quickest out of the gate? They're all quick out of the gate. I like your pick, Miko Margarita, because there aren't many horses that can take Prairie Meadows to Mountaineer to Remington Park to a Breeders' Cup win.
Right.
I think that might be unique because that's the last 3 places that he ran. So I just think that's pretty cool.
But did run at Saratoga and nearly won a Grade 2 up there last year. So I went back. I said I'm gonna go look at this race at Remington just to see, because it is mainly because it's Asmussen. And when I saw that, I was just so impressed.
I like Remington shippers. I think they're underrated, but that would be a unique trip to the Breeders' Cup. I gave a very, very, very slight edge to Palace. 11 for 22 lifetime, won 2 Grade 1s at Saratoga, 6 for 12 is the distance. Can he get the trip? Can he get the right kind of trip? I don't know. These horses are so quick that it's just a crapshoot. But at 8-1, Linda Rice is a great trainer, and the Vosburg, he didn't run his race and ran behind Private Zone and Dad's Caps, but I think he was a little tight. He went wide on top of the stretch, and I think he can redeem himself. If he runs back to the Vanderbilt, he's got a real shot in here. Indianapolis is an intriguing colt for me. 3 for 3, 2 for those at Santa Anita, and the buyer progression is 81, 97, 95. So I think that this horse has a shot and has a lot of upside, but a 3-year-old against older running the Sprint may be a tough hill to climb. I like Rich Tapestry. I like Secret Circle, Private Zone. Salutos Amigos has a shot. Fast Anna has a shot. And on the outside, a Keeneland horse that was pretty impressive. Work all week for Brueggemann in the Grade 3 Phoenix. I picked him that day because he was 10 for 13 lifetime. He's now 11 for 14 lifetime. So wherever he goes, he wins. Florent Giroux is making his first Breeders' Cup mount, and I'm going to have a little sentimental reason to pull for him there, and I think he's got a shot. So we'll go very deep in the Sprint, but my very slight edge goes to Palace.
11th race is the mile, no Wise Dan, so to me that makes this very wide open, and I think a European's going to win it. I don't have a strong opinion on which one. I just had a tough time here. What about you? Where'd you land?
Well, I landed on Toronado. I think you can make a case for the Europeans, and I do believe with Wise Dan out that they probably got a much stronger hand than they would have otherwise. Toronado is 6 for 11 lifetime, ultra consistent, has run in 7 consecutive Grade 1 stakes. So I'm going to just trust that he's the best of the one shipping over from Europe. Mustajib, the 4, obviously has a shot. The French horse Vita, the 3, And probably my second choice, though, would be Anadin, the Irish horse. Very consistent, but doesn't win a lot, but very consistent and probably will get the money. Kygun is intriguing for me for Mark Cassey. He ran right with Wise Dan last year. Probably didn't show his best in the Shadwell turf. Maybe didn't like the good turf that day, but it's a European race. I think the other horse that I think has a shot is Seek Again. If Seek Again could ever get out of the gate, he might be tough, because 3 of the last 4 times he's had tough starts. He closed in the Shadwell turf to within 4 lengths. He won the 4-Star Dave a couple back after being blocked at the top of the stretch. So he seems to find trouble. If he can have a better trip, Belmont could get him ready, and he's probably the best American shot. Seek Again, the 12, but I'm going to take Tornado, the 5, on top.
I ended up coming down to a choice between Veda and Mustajib, the 3 and the 4. A couple of 3-year-olds. Veda runs for the Aga Khan, and they don't run a lot of horses in the Breeders' Cup, so they're pretty serious when they come. Same for Shadwell and Mustajib, the 4. So kind of on the connections, I'm going to think one of those two's got a big shot at a decent price. I'm going to take Veda as a mile specialist. Filly against the boys, but she ran a huge race against the boys last time, and now second off the layoff could be her best. So the 3 Veda, but I'll use Mustajib the 4, Anadin the 9, Caraconti the 14, and one American Tourist, who I think, from what I read, is better on firm ground, and I think best at a mile. And he was at 1.25 miles on softish ground last time at Chicago. So I think back to his ideal conditions. Don't like the post, but Bill Mott's dangerous, and I'm going to take the other Mott horse in here at a bigger price. But Veda, number 3, is going to be my pick for the win. 12th race is the Classic at 1.25 miles, and I settled on Tonalist. I looked at went back and watched the Jockey Club Gold Cup again. He got a 106 buyer, lifetime best, and I watched the gallop out, and he looks so strong and just pulled away from everybody on the gallop out. And I just think he moved to a new level in that last race. Maybe he's just best at Belmont, but I went back and watched his race. He won one race somewhere else, and that was at Gulfstream, and that's kind of the anti-Belmont in terms of the track configuration. So he won on those sharp turns. And so I think that means he's not just a Belmont-only horse, and I think he's a true 1.25 mile horse out of a Pleasant Colony mare. So Christophe Clement, Belmont winner, Tonalist, gets the Classic for my pick. I'll use Shared Belief. I'll use Cigar Street for Mott. I'll use Majestic Harbor, who has the best speed figure on the dirt in the field, and won at 1.25 miles at Santa Anita. And then I'll use California Chrome as well a little bit. But Tonalist is who I like a good bit in the Classic. How about you?
Yeah, when we talked earlier this week, I thought you might go to Majestic Harbor. I thought you were going to take a shot here, but
yeah, the thing that kind of hits me, there's never been any horse older than 5 that's won the Classic, and I can see Majestic Harbor maybe hitting the board, but not winning.
Yeah, I like Tonalist, I like Bayern, but I settled on Shared Belief, and it just came down to 7 for 7, West Coast horse. Proved himself in the Awesome again with he had every reason to lose that race, and he didn't lose. And I think the fact that he won so easily his first 6 times out, I think that got his attention. I think that helped him, and I think he moves forward, and I think he wins the Classic here and goes 8 for 8, Horse of the Year. The whole thing is settled right here. I really like Shared Belief in here. I like Tonalist. But if it was run at Belmont, I'd pick him. It's run at Santa Anita. So I'm going to take Shared Belief with Tonalist, Bayern, California Chrome, simply because I think he's going to be better out on the West Coast. He kind of hit the wall after the Belmont, but he's going to run better. I could use V.E. Day in here at a price. V.E. Day didn't run the Jockey Club Gold Cup, but he had a tough trip, and he'd go back to the Travers, and he was pretty good that day. So you can make a case for a lot of them here. The other horse that I like at a price is Toast of New York, who ran behind Shared Belief in the Pacific Classic at Del Mar and has a chance to move forward, third race in the country. So I can go deep here in the pick 4, but I'm going to take as my pick to win the Classic Shared Belief, the 6.
Pick 4, I am using Flintshire Telescope Chiquita in the turf, so 7-1-11. I'm going to use Fast Anna, Miko Margarita, Rich Tapestry, and Secret Circle, 12.764 in the sprint. I'm going to go deeper in the mile, Veda, Mustajib, Anadin, Karakanti, and Tourist. And then I'm going to use Tonalist and Shared Belief. So 3 by 4 by 5 by 2. How about you?
I got a lot of them to read off here because I'm gonna really mess you up. In the Breeders' Cup Turf, I'm going to go 7 deep. I'm going to use Telescope the 1, Brown Panther the 4, the 7 Flintshire, the 8 Magician, the 9 Hardest Core, the 11 Chiquita, the one you mentioned, and the 12 Main Sequence. So I go 7 deep there. In the next race, I'm going to use 8 horses, and I may as well go deep in the sprint. I may go all, but 8 horses. I'm going to use Indianapolis the 2, the 4-horse Secret Circle, the 5 Private Zone, the 6 Rich Tapestry, the 8 Palace, the 9 Salutos Amigos, the 12 Fast Anna, and the 13 Work All Week. Then I am going to, believe it or not, single my horse in the 11th race, Tornado, the horse that I picked out of Europe. Just going to take a stand simply because I'm not sure anywhere else to take a single. And then in the last race, you can take as many as you can afford. If you single Shared Belief, it costs $28. But I've got 6 horses in there and going to spend $168 on the late pick 4. That's an expensive ticket, but you only get this chance once a year. So I go Shared Belief the 6, Bayern the 7, Zevo the 8 as a long shot, the 9 Toast from New York, the 11 Tonalist, and the 13 California Chrome. So that's 168 if you go 7 by 8 by single by 6.
So many opportunities to make a big score. So certainly hope we do, and we hope that you guys do as well. Best of luck with your Breeders' Cup wagers, and your wages. I'm Tom Leach for Jim Goodman, and this is the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com.